Our Computex 2024 coverage is made possible by Azoth, G-Skill, Thantex, Team Group, Lian Li, ASRock, Corsair, XPG, Thermaltake, Clev, Montech, and Seasonic. What's going on, guys? I'm Stuart from GGF, and it is Computex Day 1, and we're at the ROG booth. Now, we have a few videos to cover here. The first one's going to be on some keyboards. They have a motherboard on display. They don't have very many, just one. We have a sick all-in-one cooler, and then we're going to look at some of their PSUs. Now, we all know ROG like to take things to the extreme, and there's no difference here with the ROG Azoth Extreme Keyboard. Now, this thing is an absolute monster. I don't actually know the weight of this, but it is very, very heavy. Now, if you use the original Azoth, this one is taking it a few steps higher. So just look at the back there. It does have all my fingerprints on it. For you guys who always like to comment about my fingerprints, believe me, I will clean this when I'm done, so the next person has a nice fresh unit to film. So basically, this is full of carbon fiber. It's got an aluminum chassis around the side, and then it has the updated OLED. This is a touchscreen, not just on the other one where you had to use the buttons to cycle through. Now, some of the other features on this, it uses their ROG Storm switches or their ROG Snow switches, so you can get them either the more linear or in the clicky ones. Now, some other things that I do want to talk about are the feet adjustments. So instead of having the standard feet that flip up and flip down, they actually give you these magnetic little domes, and then this one clips on as well. Kind of like home theater feet with that little dome style, and they've got a bit of rubber on there as well. So very elegant, very, very neat. And of course, just like on the original Azoth, you could use the USB, it had Bluetooth, and it has wireless modes as well. Now, I'm taking a little bit to my right, which would be your left, over this way. We can actually see the complete breakdown on this keyboard. Now, I'm not a keyboard enthusiast, so some of you guys watching will probably know what all of this stuff is, but these are all the covers, the positioning plate, the dampening foam. We have a switch pad, and you might be wondering what the adjustable gasket mount is. So underneath here, I can remove this plate like that, and that's nice, where it also hides the USB dongle. And there's a switch here, so I can change the gasket mount to be a more of a harder feeling or a softer feeling by pushing on that switch. Now, personally, I'm not really a keyboard enthusiast. When I tried the difference, I couldn't really tell, but some of the other guys here who are more enthusiasts in keyboards, they could actually tell the difference between the force when it was changed to softer and harder. So this is a unit that's opened up here. So with that switch underneath, you can see that it changes here, 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 and here, and that's the difference where it changes it from the soft to hard. It literally just raises and lowers that area for that different experience. Now, in terms of things like price, ETA, they don't really have any of that. I'll try and get it out of them and put it in the description, but I do know it's going to be quite a bit more than the original Azoth. And one thing I do want to mention, I'll grab this over here. Oh, this feels heavier than pretty much the original Azoth. So this is just the wrist pad. It's not what I would say a foam, it's more a rubberized pad. It feels like it has a bit of gel. Very, very nice feeling right there. Now, this is the only ROG board they have on display here. I believe it's going to be a Hero. They literally have not told us anything. They can't say what platform it is. Obviously, it's going to be for Intel because of the sticker, but we don't know what chipset, what revision, anything like that. We can make assumptions, but even I'm not allowed to say what I think it could be. I do know that it is going to be BTF. You can see there's nothing on the side. I can't even pick this up. I'm not even allowed to. I can see you've got the dual EPS 8-pin over here. I can see it's got the 24 pin there, and then you've got your fans and RGB are on the back. That is all I know. And then we can see it's got the BTF connector for their Strix 4090 BTF GPU, and that is it. I'll get a bit closer, and we can mainly just talk about the aesthetic they've got going on over here with this cover plate. I'm assuming it's going to have M.2s under there. I can't have a look, I can't touch it, but we can see it's got a bit of a frosted dark acrylic over the top, and it's got a bit of some lines underneath. I'll try and get that on camera pretty clear for you guys, but we can take a look at the I/O. For me, I can't really see anything too new. It doesn't even say if it's USB 4. All I got is Thunderbolt 1 and 2, that's it it's showing. And then we got Wi-Fi 7, which I would assume. And then it's got 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, and then we have just the nice ROG on the top. But the VRM looks pretty beefy. I would say it's pretty much the standard VRM we've got on the current Hero boards. This over here looks really interesting. This is a 360 all-in-one cooler from ROG. Now you might be wondering, what the heck is this? It looks like a phone is mounted to this all-in-one cooler, but this is actually bendable. There is a live demo, not on this one's not hooked up. There's a live demo behind me, and it's actually motorized, it's electronic. You can push a button and that'll either close it to do a right angle so you can see it from this angle, or you can open it back up so it's completely flat like this. Now that's pretty insane. So that's an OLED screen that is bendable. Apart from that, there's nothing else I can really tell you about that. They didn't say what pump it's using or any other of the technologies. But one thing that is interesting is that they have moved the all-in-one cooling tubes. Instead of being from one end of the radiator that runs down, they've moved them to the center of the radiator. Now, there's some challenges with that because the radiator is wider. So this looks like a 120 mil fans on these. So this is a 360, but it looks like the radiator is a bit wider. So when this does launch, it'll be interesting to see how they get around that, because you may need a 420 mount to fit this 360 radiator because it is wider. So the advantage by having these short tubes is they literally just come from the back and they come straight down. So the tubes on here are about that long. That's it. So it'll be interesting to see if that'll work on all cases, but I can't see why not, because as long as you put it in the top, it's not going to go on the front, because then your all-in-one cooler is only going to reach to about here. So it's definitely top mounted. I wonder if they will maybe give you some extension tubes or a different set of replacements if you want to mount this in the front. But then again, the reason I think why they've gone to the top only, because if you had tubes going in the side, it would interfere with the screen. As of launch dates, prices, this is completely new. It is a complete new prototype, so I don't have any information on that at all. Now, if you follow the news, you've probably already seen that ROG have launched a new ROG Thor 3. So this is the 1600 watt Platinum 3 PSU. Now, some of the main changes, we all know the ROG Thors have had that voltage readout on the side. Now, what's happened before is it's only been on one side. So depending on your case, if your PSU is at the top, at the bottom, wherever the window is, if you flip it around one way for the case orientation, you will not see the screen. But what they've done now is this little OLED screen. I'll take it off now. You can take this off, flip it around the other side, pop it back on, and it'll look exactly the same as it does here. So they've just added pogo pins for that connection, and I just did that live, and that had no issues at all. Now, another thing I want to talk about are the cable for your GPU. So what they've done is that they've added some voltage stabilizer for your GPU for better voltage regulation. So what it does with your standard GPU cable, I'll get some close-ups of this. So this will plug into your GPU, and then they have a 2-pin cable that goes directly into the PSU as well as the other end as well. So if we spin this around, this one connects into here. So that just gives you better voltage stabilization to regulate your GPU, whereas in the past, you weren't able to do that. So that is good for this side of things, but if you're running a custom cable, you're not going to be able to utilize this feature until custom cablers do come out with this feature as well. So in terms of wattages for these, they are the 1000 and up to 1600. The previous Thors started at 850, but the new Thors are starting at the 1000 upwards to 1600. And over here we have the ROG Strix 1000, and this will also have that new voltage regulation technology as well. Now that's it on the video from the ROG booth. The next one from Azoth will be covering their all-in-one coolers from ProArt, and then some of their ProArt laptops as well. So stay tuned for that one.